So May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Joining us now to share a few ways to maintain mental wellness, psychiatrist Dr. Christopher Mahfood. Good morning, Doc. How are you? Welcome to Smile.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
I'm really happy to have this discussion. This is an area of my passion as well. So it's good to talk to somebody who's been doing this for a good while. You've been practicing now for how long?
As a consultant psychiatrist for 3 years, but residency before that. So I've been in mental health for about 8 years.
Okay, and tell me what you've seen during those 8 years in terms of how we are doing as a nation in, first I'm going to say in the discourse, because I kind of feel like there's been a shift, but I'm not sure. So you tell me from your vantage point.
Yeah, of course. So, of course, has always been a stigma geared towards mental health, more so than any other area of medicine. But since starting my training in psychiatry till now, even in that short period of time, I've seen a great shift. The big players in Jamaica who are promoting mental health awareness have done quite a good job. And I have worked in both the public sector and now just private, but I've seen a great shift in the amount of persons who are willing to seek help, but also willing to seek help for their friends and family. And also those who have already some general information and knowledge about some of the more common mental health issues that are affecting persons.
That's so good to hear.
But it's still there, though. The stigma is still there.
Oh, yeah.
So we have to work hard on.
Yeah. And what do you think is the source of the stigma? Because I think we conflate sometimes mental health with mental illness, with mental disorder. So there's still a lack of awareness and understanding, is there not? And is that the source of the stigma?
Yes, of course. So historically, the thing is, psychiatry is one of the newer areas of medicine. And we didn't really start treating persons, appropriately until I would say the 60s and 70s. And some of the earlier medications caused, significant side effects. And people started to stigmatize persons with mental health issues because of that, because they just caused, if they had severe illnesses, they could cause trouble in society. And they used to lock them away because we couldn't do anything else to protect ourselves and themselves. But now we have great treatment for persons who have illnesses and can function like everyone else in society. But the stigma is still there, the generational stigma. But it is changing because people realize now that their CEO or their lawyer or even their doctor might have a mental health illness and functions as everyone else does.
Yeah, and you
just
talk about
gets appropriate treatment.
Yeah, you talk about medication. Some folks may not even need medication, but they have mental health issues, and what they need is treatment and therapy. So this notion that is mad people have mental health issues, and so. When we talk about mental health, what are we talking about exactly, Doc? What are some of the illnesses, the issues that fit under that banner?
So mental health does not have to do, as you said, with persons who may have more significant issues like schizophrenia or bipolar disorder. Mental health starts from something as small as coping. You're going through a difficult period in your life and maybe you're not coping so well. So I always tell persons that I think therapy is very helpful to everybody, at least at some point in their life, whether it be to help you with a small area that has to do with coping, or maybe you have gotten bad news, or maybe you're trying to deal with a new diagnosis. Like, for example, you're diagnosed with high blood pressure. It helps to talk to somebody who has a trained ear and can help you work through it and learn the right coping mechanisms to go through that. But then you have other things that persons are not so aware of, and that is depression and anxiety. As a nation, I feel like we kind of downplay that and say you have to have a stiff upper lip. That's the kind of like British way that we were brought up. But depression affects persons globally, and Jamaica is no different. We have around 3% persons in Jamaica who are suffering from clinical depression and about 4.1% from anxiety. So these are diagnosable issues. And there's also the other end of the spectrum, which are persons with different personality types that they don't react the same way that the average person reacts to situations, and that can predispose them to feeling isolated and affect their social interactions. As we know, social interactions are very important because we're a bonding species.
Okay. You mentioned a while ago the notion of not being alone in the struggle. Let's talk quickly, we have 2 minutes, about some of the ways that folks can cope. You mentioned therapy, which is getting the expert guidance and the expert help on how to manage. Support is also a big one.
Mm-hmm. First, briefly, I just want to mention when you need to seek help. So everyone goes through things throughout their life. But if you notice that your behavior is worrying a lot of people, or it's affecting your work, your school, your social interactions, or if you turn to substances to try and escape, those are some kind of triggers that you want to look at, or red flags you want to look at when to get help. How to cope? Well, first of all, support. You can reach out to a trusted friend, family member, church elder, whomever is in your sphere, who you trust, for some guidance or even just to ventilate. Sometimes you just want to talk. Other things, if you want to learn more, because you're concerned you want to learn more, your GP or family doctor is a great source of information. And if they don't have that information, they can direct you to the persons who may or may not have that information. Briefly, I want to say to those who may be suffering from thoughts of suicide or have behaviors of such, there is a new hotline that opened up last year. It is 888
New Life.
New Life. Mm-hmm. Yes. Not New Hope, sorry. It's at the bottom of the screen, it says New Hope, it's New Life. So it's 639-5433.
Yeah, that should be New Life, guys. So can we take that down? Yes, thank you.
Yes.
New Life, yes.
No problem. So you can call that number, it's 24/7, and somebody will be there to talk to you. If you're concerned, find yourself at the nearest hospital. We can help you out. But other things you can do, if you're just going through issues, make sure you have a good work-life balance, right? Take time out to do things that you enjoy doing. And also, if you find that you're feeling overwhelmed, look at resources on the internet for meditation, mindfulness. These are things to ground you in the present, to help you not to ignore what's going on, but to be more aware and present, and it calms you down in that moment. Mm-hmm. Socializing with others, having a good support system, sleep, diet and exercise have all been shown to be very helpful. And have an open mind. If you're doing all these things and you're still having significant issues that you're not really coping well with, talk to your doctor. Maybe you can see a specialist. And the Jamaican government has an amazing, it's great, it's free healthcare. So you can go to most of the major health centers have a mental health clinic that you can go and get free care. You can see a psychiatrist. You can even sometimes see a psychologist. Yes, we have a high patient burden there, and there might be some waiting times, but you don't get that in most countries.
Yeah.
It's worth the wait.
Yeah.
It's worth the wait.
Absolutely. Great tips there, Doc. Most importantly, if you find yourself in a situation where you cannot function as you normally would, everything is interrupted, your relationships, your work, your job, school, it is time to seek help, and don't be afraid of seeking help, because it's very important and it could save your life. Thank you, Dr. Mahfood, for talking to me this morning, for the work you continue to do in this area. Such an important area. We need to pay more attention to it. Psychiatrist Dr. Christopher Mahfood with us this morning. We take a break on Smile. There's more after we do the news. Soon come.